Welcome to Fact or Freestyle.
People love Dave Nourie, and they always answer the phone when he calls. When we get him on Zoom, we ask him to confirm rumors.
Let's see how far down the rabbit hole we go.
I'm glad that you got a haircut.
I think we're walking that sponsorship now. Don't you love that idea of the milk thing? Because, wait, what's your tagline, Joe?
What milk you got? That's good. I have almond milk.
Almond milk. Hey, Joe, I'm wondering what's happening with Eddie.
Wait, are you getting Eddie Roman or who?
Oh, who's that?
I'm here.
Really?
Rob, what's going on?
What's going down?
Just hanging out, just riding, just got back from the pump track.
Now, just kind of catching up with people and see how life is going and then share some stories. We've come across some crazy stories that we've heard.
Is that
The Mohawk helmet.
Dude, I think I have stickers. And I swear to God, I think I got some from the same pack you gave me at Venice Beach. It was always more loose too. I felt like, because I started out as a little kid in the mid 70s. I grew up thinking BMX racing was it. And I remember like this total epiphany moment where I'm like, no, you know what, man, I'm a freestyle guy. That's it. There was less competition. I always felt like it was more an art related bend that you had to go into freestyle than a competition.
And us being entertainers. I mean, when we did, we liked the entertainment factor of it. We liked to see the crowd response. And we right here, right, us three, seriously, I think a lot of other kids got that from us, from what we did. And so I'm doing a show with Gail Webb, and I'm doing it with the wheelie king, who is Doug DeMocus. Right. So he used to do a wheelie on his motorcycle. And the thing is that we were in the Cow Palace in San Francisco. He would do this wheelie during practice. Nobody was in the auditorium at this time. He did this wheelie and he rode around this whole place, and he's doing a wheelie and he goes up and over this car and he drops down and he's still on the wheelie. He does this for, half hour, never once putting his front wheel on the ground. And they open up the gates and everybody files in, and then the big show happens. And Doug goes out first and he says, hey, I'm going to do this wheelie. And he's going up and around. Everything's great, but he gets up on top of the car and the front wheel goes down. And he looks at the crowd. He goes, well, I get, trying to get the crowd response. And he goes around again, does on the wheelie, and he puts it down again. I go, he never once messed up during practice. I go, what's he doing? So on the third try, he pulls it off, and the crowd response was just enormous. And then it made sense. He's going like, you make it look hard. It's really easy for you, but if you make it look hard, then people respond. Because if you would have made it the first time, the crowd response would have been a Tom Slick. Yay.
Yeah.
Dave Volker said it best. He says, I never entered any competition. I never went to a competition. I just went to ride with everybody. And it was just a free-for-all and to have fun. Just because somebody judged it doesn't mean I entered it.
I have a question for you, Maurice. The other thing that we wanted to bring up that we thought is kind of interesting is how tricks come to be. Back in the day, before internet, it was magazines and videos. And if somebody made a trick and they were the first to do it in a contest, then do they get credited? Or I guess one story is
Fact or freestyle. James McGraw did a backwards bar ride in his amateur run a few hours before R.L. Osborne did it in his pro run.
You guys both know about the 900. Often did it in a contest first, but apparently Mike Dominguez did it on his ramp before that.
Yeah, we found one edge case that we wanted to talk through and see if you guys had an opinion about. In 1986, a 13-year-old James McGraw did a backwards bar ride, and he sent that quote of him doing it to 23 Mag, and he's on the internet. However, RL said that he debuted that in February 1st, 1987 at West Palm Beach, Florida. However, James McGraw, the 13-year-old amateur, was at that contest and did it in his expert run. So chronologically, James McGraw did the backwards bar ride in the contest first because amateur went before pro when RL did it.
Wow.
So I have an answer for the people have asked, what tricks did I invent and how do you prove it? This whole world, there could be somebody else on the other side of the world at the exact same time doing the exact same trick that I learned. kind of like James and RL. What I can say is that I got it in the magazine first. So RL got it in the magazine first. You win a popularity contest for that because now everybody knows that RL did it in the magazine first.
When I try to record anything that's historical, like I tried to do the Skyway page, right? Like I was trying to figure out when did all the different hubs come out. Clearest thing I could come up with is you just record the facts. Well, here's an ad that appeared in BMX Plus in 1978 or whatever, and that's the first ad I found. You say it clearly. You say it just like Joe said it.
I have another one for you guys.
Fact or freestyle? Fred Blood invented the decade after trying it for exactly 10 days.
Who invented the decade?
Dean Palacios, wasn't that
Dean
his?
Palacios. Okay.
Yeah.
Eddie, who do you think?
I don't know who was first to do whatever, but
What's the story on Dean Palacios? I know there's a backstory deeper than that one, right?
Joe, you talked about this. This is funny that you brought it up about James doing the backwards bar ride. That happened to me in my first contest.
Fact or freestyle? Dean Palacio invented what's known as the Nourie handstand.
So Tony Murray and John Peterson convinced me to go to a contest. I had my whole routine planned out, and the Nourie handstand was one of my patented tricks. Well, Dean Palacio went before me in the same class and did that trick.
Yeah.
So all these years, I still didn't know whether or not, like maybe Dean did that trick before me. I don't know, but I got the coverage, like you said, Eddie, in the magazine, and we had Dean on the call, and he got a picture in the magazine. Actually, he got a picture in the magazine, black and white, in freestyling, even though he won vert, but he got a picture doing flatland, and it was the Nourie handstand. So he's like, no, dude, it was your trick. It totally, no, he was really gracious about it. But then we brought up the fact that a lot of people think that Fred Blood did the decade when most people know, and obviously Northern California, because you just said that Dean Palacio was the first to do it. He called it an inverted boomerang.
Because I think that's what I'm recalling is a photo, a little black and white.
Okay, so here's another one, you guys.
Fact or freestyle? The Jose Vendetta.
Jose. So apparently he did the first ground tail whip. You guys know that, right?
Janet?
I did not.
So this is
he's
the
got
segment
Joe-
that we call the Jose Vendetta. And it sounds outlandish, but we want to run it by you guys to see if you've heard anything. Jose is credited with inventing the backflip. Brian Blyther has never done a backflip, but Jose is butthurt because according to sources, he has Super 8 film of him doing a tail whip that predates Brian's 1984 magazine shot, but he never got credit for it. And he's always had a burr under his saddle, so much so that he invented the backflip to do something that Brian wouldn't do. Now that Rad is streaming, he's getting royalties and he's preparing for his comeback.
No royalties. Rad was filmed in Canada. The reason it was filmed in Canada is so that they wouldn't have to pay royalties to any of the people that were in it. So this was one of the very first runaway productions that was ever done.
So that's the first hole. He plans to do a tail whip on a Travis Pastrana bar spin motorcycle in Baldy Pipe
That's Brian's neck of the woods, Baldy Pipe. It's right down the street from him.
to flex on him.
I'll enjoy that.
Was this within the last 10 years that you had this information?
I started to hear about this earlier in this year during COVID.
We had a day that I had Bart Connor, Jose, the producer and the director at my house, and we watched the movie Rad. Now take it, I have Bart Connor, who is a 6-time gold medalist for the United States. Jose claimed that he did the first backflip gainer, and he's telling this to the gymnast, and Bart's going, okay, yeah, just agreeing. That being said, Jose's a great guy, and credit is where credit is. The way you put the words, he claims to be the first one to do a backflip on a bicycle, where he's not the first one to do it on a bicycle. There's other people who have done it on bicycles, and there are pictures of vintage bicycles, people in the circus of doing them. Jose was the first one to ever do it on a BMX bike.
You both are feeling like that was pretty freestyle.
No facts, no.
No, I wasn't there.
So the next one to confirm,
Fact or freestyle? Bob Harrow is an over gripper.
Bob Harrow is an over gripper.
Overgripper.
When Bob Harrow first shakes your hand, he overgrips. An excessively firm handshake.
I don't
It
know
catches
what.
you off guard.
I didn't notice that, but that may be me flexing.
I think that one's a fact. I firsthand felt Bob's grip. Yeah, he's a, what'd you call it?
He's an overgripper.
Overgripper. Yeah,
Power move, solid.
I got one. Okay, you guys all know the new Haro logo. You know what his logo looks like, right? Right, it's a silhouette, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hang on.
in
Does
Germany.
that look anything like him?
It looks like you, Eddie.
Yeah, that's me. It doesn't look
Yeah.
anything like Bob, but I got a letter from Bob.
Oh, wait, you're killing me.
I got a letter from Bob. He literally says he owns the rights of a guy on a bike in a silhouette. That's where his strong grip is trying to take a hold of.
Dave, do you think that we could get Bob Harrow to send us a letter? We still have the opportunity to make a logo for the show, right?
Yeah, we have to just pick a rider and a silhouette.
You know how guys have Guinness Book of World Records like framed in the background? I think I want to get a Bob Harrow cease and desist that I can frame and put in my background.
That'd be something. Yeah.
I can find one. I think I have it laying around.
So to make a cease and desist letter, like you could just make those and send them, right? Like you can just find something.
Next to the will section in the bookstore, if you go, make your own will. There's
You got it on the internet. You can find it on the internet. I'm sure there's somebody that has one that's already pre-printed out.
Can we get James McGraw to send a cease and desist letter for the backwards bar ride to R.L. Osborne?
Now, Joe, I keep telling you, this show is not about trying to burn bridges all over the place. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not. Look, I'm
it's
just
all good
testing
fun.
because I am trying to invent tricks that are like people are not doing. But instead of calling ABD, maybe in this next phase of our more adult life, we can send cease and desist letters if somebody does your trick.
I'm at a different stage in my BMX life. I said I feel like I'm kind of more of a trick inventor. Like I got a mind for it, but like I invented a trick, but you did it.
You're the Dale Chihuly of BMX now.
Yeah, like right, like, hey man, I got this idea, Mike, because I've been watching you ride, dude. If you just like crank it a little bit like this, or put your hand over here, that's a whole new trick. Just cross your hand up this way instead of that way, and then you call it a drop, and you're done. Why
That's
not, right?
Great.
We can last beyond our shelf life, right?
Exactly.
This is an
Hey,
excellent idea.
There's a lot of coaches out there that can't play football anymore.
Like just the other day, I'm teaching this class and this 6-year-old kid comes up to me and he's like, I'm ready to learn the Vanderroll. I'm like, Tyler, you ready? The Vanderroll. I go, okay, I can teach you, but you may not do this trick without me until I think you're ready. It's almost my responsibility because there's not a lot of people doing Vanderrolls anymore. Like there's Mike Parente does them and I do them. Rick Allison, that's about it that I know of. And that trick's going to be lost if I don't get someone to carry it to the next, the next generation.
They might look the wrong way. Like the De Jongs, again, they told me when they first saw that in the magazines, they put on helmets and tried to do it at speed and in the grass. Like,
yeah,
down the street, just grab the front tire and start.
Yeah, there's a Canadian rider, Joe. You've seen that clip of the Canadian rider.
Percy Marshall. I was there live. He was doing it in a contest. It was up in Canada. For whatever year, this year, they didn't have all of the barriers. They had those crowd barriers, those metal ones. Well, they only had half of them available. So what they did is they strung caution tape in between. So Percy Marshall puts on a helmet, goes at speed, winds up, goes over and pikes his bike like through the hole in the things. It just like right into the bleachers.
Hilarious.
It was super scary because like there was a baby carrier on the bleacher and it went right into that, and we all flipped out because we were like, dude, did Percy just kill a baby?
Oh.
But it was empty. It was empty. It was terrifying. Terrifying. And then I was like, who sets up barricades with like 8-foot gaps in the barricades?
Yeah, they'd have got more than a cease and desist letter off that right there.
All right, guys, I think we should probably wrap it up.